Hey guys, my name is Kyle Pullen. So I did my current event about a company called Cardinal Health, and they're having a huge recall right now on a bunch of contaminated surgical gowns. So we'll get started with an overview. So last month in January, they announced to certain healthcare providers to stop using surgical gowns and packs of surgical equipment due to contamination. Um, there's 2.9 million procedure packs manufactured between September 2018 and January 2020 that are a part of this recall. So it's been a little over a year since the manufacturing of these contaminated surgical gowns began. The recall is expected to cause Cardinal Health to record a 96 million charge to their accounts. So the surgical gown that's being recalled is something called a AAMI level 3 gown. So these gowns are used for moderate risk, and surgical gowns are ranked on a scale of 1 to 4, and 1 being the lowest risk, 4 being the highest risk. And they measure that based off of fluid that's going to be possibly on the gowns. So these level 3 gowns are typically used in ERs for like inserting IV lines or trauma cases. So hospitals are going to be widely affected by this recall, and particularly in ER units. So why is this important? It's affecting and will continue to affect the healthcare system. So it's going to be a long process for them. They're going to have to reschedule a lot of surgeries. They've already had to reschedule thousands of surgeries due to this. Cardinal Health is going to lose a lot of reliability and trust that they've built with their customers over the years. This is something that's huge. It's going to impact a lot of people, not just Cardinal Health. So it's important to ensure materials used by healthcare providers are sterile, just because it's important to make sure that they have control over contaminating their patients during surgery or during inserting an IV into somebody. They need to make sure that their tools that they're using on a daily basis are sterile for the healthcare provider's safety and also for the patient's safety. It's going to be timely to remove these contaminated products from inventory, from Cardinal's inventory and through across the United States through different healthcare providers. And it's going to be costly. It's going to cost Cardinal about 96 million. So that's huge. Move this. So who's going to be affected by this recall? Hospitals and doctor offices will be widely affected, particularly in the ER. Patients are going to be affected because of the rescheduling and possible harm from these contaminated gowns, and their safety, and healthcare providers are at risk because of their safety as well, and liability. So the theory is of how this happened is what Cardinal Health does is they outsource the production of their surgical gowns to a company in China. And in this article, Cardinal reported that this company that's in China had moved the production to a location that had uncontrollable environments, and this new location that they chose is not approved by the US FDA. So I guess they ended up doing an inspection and found that for a year there's possible cross-contamination with all of these level 3 surgical gowns. And that's really how this all started. And since then, since this discovery, Cardinal Health has dropped this company in China as their main manufacturer. So some steps that Cardinal is taking to address the issue that's going to come from this, which is going to be a shortage of these level 3 surgical gowns, is they're going to increase its manufacturing production of similar replacement products, offer more protective level 4 gowns to help bridge the supply gap, working to identify alternatives. So they're going to be trying to get partners with other companies that provide similar products to get them to their customers so that they don't have to do without. Mobilizing employees from all parts of the company to work directly with healthcare providers to replace gowns and procedure packs. This is kind of their way too, I guess, of ensuring that they cover all bases. There's going to be no questions asked whether this gown is contaminated or not. They'll know for sure, and they'll be able to have their hands in it and make sure that they're pulling all of the proper gowns. So my opinion, I feel like this was very poor management on Cardinal Health's part. And I still feel like something is really shady with this. I think sometimes a lot of people get caught up, or not people, but companies get caught up in where they can cut corners and, save money. And they might have just been blind to this company in China and their plan to maybe for them to save money to make more of a profit. But I feel like there should have been more organization. There should have been more monitoring of their products to ensure the safety of the customers that are purchasing these medical tools from them. It's extremely important for all of these tools to be sterile, especially when it comes to the safety of the patient and the medical provider. I think Cardinal is also going to have a hard time coming back from this. I think they've probably have lost a lot of trust with companies that may have been buying from them for years. I know that if I was a medical provider, I would be kind of skeptical to buy from them again, not knowing if I know for sure that the products I'm getting from them are legit and are actually sterile. So I'm concerned about the lack of organization and management Cardinal displayed. And I guess that could also be, put on the manufacturer. But I think as a company, a distribution company as big as Cardinal is, they should have a responsibility to make sure that their products are what they say they are. In the future, I hope they will implement stricter policies and strategies with their production process to ensure that this doesn't happen again. And hopefully they'll be able to come back from this. They're going to have a lot to prove to their stakeholders to show that they're trying to make improvements and making appropriate measures to fix issues. But hopefully they can bounce back. I think it might just take time. They're really going to have to cover everything and make sure they're checking and double checking and triple checking from now on so that they can make sure everything is going out properly. So that's all I have. Thank you so much for listening, and have a good one.